NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil. Put some NASCAR in your car with the One, Mobil 1. By Subway, where Tony Stewart goes to fuel up. Subway, race hard, eat fresh. And by Sprint, welcome to the 2008 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Speed is beautiful.
17 laps to go in Las Vegas. Carl Edwards leading Matt Kenseth by 1.7 seconds on the UAW-Dodge 400. In 2005, Edwards won 3 times on mile-and-a-half tracks, twice at Atlanta and once at Texas. He's not won on a track this size since then.
That car is just a smooth running car right now. I mean, the thing is working to perfection. It sounds great when it goes by here. Everything on that thing is working, including the driver.
Well, the Sprint Mobile monster moment of this race had to be the close call for Carl Edwards on pit road. When the right front tire carrier rolls this tire across, it comes bouncing back out onto the racetrack, but NASCAR adjudged, and correctly after reviewing the videotape, that someone not from their crew, a photographer who was trying to be positioned out of the way, inadvertently interfered, and they let Edwards hold his position, and then he came by for the lead. So the race changed in an instant with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Follow the race instantly.
And second place just changed. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 car with 15 laps to go just drove by Matt Kenseth in the 17 with his sights set on Carl Edwards, but old Carl Edwards sitting out there right now.
Get that chrome now. Let's go get him.
There you go, 2.5 seconds out front.
Calm down, calm down. Don't get excited.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9th at Daytona, 40th at California. Nice rebound here, but he's 2.4 seconds back of Edwards with 14 to go.
Another good run for him in Atlanta next week. If he can close the deal here, he'll be locked in on getting up there in the top 10 in points, even with the finish last week.
Did you see that little courtesy wave that Carl gave to Matt when he went by there on that pass? I like that. Thank you, buddy.
Let's have a look at yesterday's winner. Mark Martin battling Travis Kvapil for 10th place. That's been a pretty good battle as we get down into the
pretty darn
stages.
Good job by that white car with nothing on it.
Kvapil made the pass and goes after David Reagan.
But another good run for David Reagan. We talked about him a while ago up there in that 6th car. Now Paul Menard in the 15 car is actually a lap down, but a great run for David Reagan in the 6th. And as you mentioned, we head to his hometown next week at Atlanta. Paul Menard, he just cannot get off turn 4. He can't get out of the way quick enough in that 15 car.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're trying to get around somebody, you know, that's having that kind of a problem. Don't want to get in something, and there's Reagan right on his back bumper. He needs to make this pass and move on.
There's the Roush Fenway running order. Pretty good day for Jack Roush and crew, but now Matt Kenseth.
We got a car in the wall.
Kurt Busch, and I mean, he has pounded it.
Caution will wave here with 11 to go.
Boy, that car is skinny. Look at that thing, Larry.
Has all the look that a right front tire did go down on that 2 car.
My.
See Kurt moving around in the car. He is okay, but his Penske mount is used up.
Boy, I'll say he hit that thing a ton.
So we'll be inside 10 laps to go for the restart, which means a single file restart. And watch the blue deuce. Here he is, middle of your screen.
This is where it's gonna. This is when it hurts the worst. You're right in the middle
there.
of the corner.
You saw it when it blew.
Yeah.
I mean, dead in the middle of
right in the middle of the corner. You're already back in the gas.
And Kurt again had worked his way back onto the lead lap.
It would be just like somebody walking up to you and poking you in the gut as hard as they can when it does that.
He worked for 163 laps to get back on the lead lap and was running 15th when that tire let go.
Kurt came in here 4th in the points, only 36 points out of the lead.
Let's get down to the Hollywood Hotel.
Thanks, Mike. Guys, this is an AT&T race break. We are under caution, and 10 caution flags, the record for this racetrack at Las Vegas, and we have now tacked on to that.
Yep.
And let's take a look at just some highlights. Carl Edwards back on top. We've had quite an interesting race in the first half. The story, Toyotas. Carl Edwards here battling Kyle Busch, the pole sitter, as he led some 50-plus laps. Dale Earnhardt Jr. led 17 laps in this race. Tony Stewart in the first half led 6 laps. Kyle Busch coming back to take the lead again before sliding back on lap 109. Tony Stewart, a right front tire after he complained that the car was tight into the wall, a hard crash. And after going to the care center, Tony was okay, out of the race. Meanwhile, Carl Edwards' pit problems here, they are penalized.
They're penalized because that right rear tire got away from them, went back across the center of the race car. But on the second time by, another tire gets away from him, but a cameraman, not a Fox cameraman, got in the way of the guy catching the tire. You see the tire rolling across on the quarter mile.
NASCAR reviewed, said no penalty. And then Carl Edwards passing Matt Kenseth, his teammate. And moments ago, that last caution, let's listen in.
You can hear that right front tire when it exploded on the number 2 car, sending Kurt Busch up into the outside wall. You see right there, he's still, I mean, basically not groggy, folks. I mean, yeah, you hit the wall that hard. Daryl and Larry were talking about, it's like getting kicked in the stomach. I mean, it just knocked all the wind out of you. I mean, the big white flash type deal. I mean, it really is a hard impact.
Kurt Busch, of course, Las Vegas native, with Kyle Busch, who we showed had a good first half to the race, but has faded. What's been the story with Kyle Busch's Toyota?
I think really they're just chasing the racetrack, and they went the wrong way, and they haven't got it back. The racetrack started cooling down. Their car wasn't ready for it, and they hadn't been able to keep up on the adjustments. Again, a young team still learning their way as far as what they need to do to the race car. So, you know, they got some more time to kind of come together, but that's really what I think put him behind so far. But this bunch right here with Bob Osborne at the helm, Carl Edwards, they are just running unbelievably strong here today.
Carl Edwards won back-to-back races just one other time in his career. Mike talked about his success in 2005 at Atlanta, and then the following week at Texas. The intermediate tracks, right? The mile to 2 miles, just a mile and a half track, something that at least Ford has had a focus on. We saw that last week in Fontana.
Well, I think, you know, Roush Fenway as a whole, but Jack Roush told me this year, Jeff, we're prepared. Last year we didn't quite get up on our COT program or the new car program like we needed to, but now they got a 7-post. They're doing a lot more engineering, and you got to believe, we'll take a look right there at the owner, Jack Roush, cat in the hat we like to call him. He's got a huge stable of cars, and they're working together as a team. Daryl talked about teamwork earlier today, how important that is, and we've seen a lot of the first part of the season where once again it's coming true as far as today's concerned, because Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, a lot of the Roush cars, just for that caution, they had 5 cars in the top 10 right there with basically 11 laps to go.
Carl Edwards has led the most laps today, 76, but the most important one still lies ahead.
Right,
before we throw it upstairs, what should we look for with Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind Carl Edwards, and then Kenseth, Gordon, and Greg Biffle?
Hey, it is Las Vegas. It's time to go gambling, baby. No caution to the wind. Now it's time to get up on that wheel and put some pressure on that number 99.
And since it is Las Vegas, Mike, Larry, Daryl, a 6-to-1 choice. You could have bet that prior to the race for Carl Edwards. Anybody have that?
No. But at the top of the day, we talked about the wind being a factor in turn 2. It much hasn't been. Maybe for Dale Jarrett's crash, but otherwise not a factor. But Daryl, you called it. Turn 4, Calamity Corner.
Yeah, and it historically has been. So when you look at these racetracks, you know, over the last 5 or 6 years, even when they made the change here, that's a tough corner. Probably one of the toughest in racing.
Larry, Carl Edwards had a chance at the weekend double, but his chance to win yesterday got taken away from him.
Yeah, he had a good race car, but once again, Carl showed why he's such a great guy, is because this happened with about 4 laps to go in a Nationwide Series race, battling for the lead with Brad Keselowski. Mark Martin in the 5, who went on to win the race, gets in the back of him, but Mark showed he's a gentleman. He got the victory lane. He said, look, we're not celebrating this. That's not the way we win races. Carl Edwards said he knew Mark Martin would not wreck him on purpose, but I think he also knew Carl Edwards had a good race car today.